What up? It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day. None other than Mr. Jamie Lowe. Always fascinating to have his analysis on the program. Top story of the day. You go to get a nice treat at a place called Cinnabon. Instead, you find an individual who decides to be racist against Black customers. Here it is.
That's I am racist.
So idiot for
And
real.
you are
You are an idiot. No,
I
I'm
am
not.
racist, and I'll say that to the whole entire world. Don't be disrespectful.
You ruin your life, by the way.
Oh,
Bye.
you talk about respect? You talk about respect? You are fired from this place. You're not gonna be working here.
Suck it.
Suck what? Look how you
Suck
fucking look
it.
like.
What's wrong with you?
What the f***'s wrong with you, you f***ing ugly bitch? Get the f*** out of my face.
Talking about ugliness?
Did I stutter?
You
Put it up full man. They're all across the United States of America. They happen to be white. They eat Cinnabon every day, and it doesn't make them racist. This has nothing to do with the Cinnabon. This employee has now been fired from Cinnabon after her racist tirade on Black customers. She was very proud to proclaim to the world that she is, in fact, racist. According to Atlanta Black Star, 2 days after President Donald Trump referred to Somali immigrants as garbage, a white Cinnabon employee in Wisconsin was captured on video calling a Somali man the N-word after mocking his wife for her hijab. Identified as Crystal Wilsey, 43-year-old woman, said, quote, "I am racist and you are a N-word." End quote. Another quote. "I am racist and I'll say it to the entire world." Well, congratulations, you have. We're here to help you meet your goal. The employee and her racist rant occurred on a Thursday, December 4th, as a woman, reported the incident. The employee was fired hours after this incident. The Somali woman sent the video to her cousin. Her cousin posted the video online. It immediately went viral, with viewers tagging Cinnabon. Quote, "We've seen the disturbing video from the Cinnabon bakery, and we do not condone this behavior. The former employee was immediately terminated by the franchise owner. Their actions do not reflect our values or the welcoming experience every guest deserves." So a mugshot posted on Recently Booked shows a mugshot of this individual saying she was arrested in 2022 in Ohio on 3 charges of child endangerment and operating a vehicle while impaired. But a search through the online court system of Erie County in Ohio does not show any records for her. However, just like Shiloh Hendricks, the woman who fundraised over $700,000 after she went viral for calling a Black child the N-word, racist also rallied behind this Cinnabon employee. A Give, Send, Go fundraiser has surfaced online on behalf of the racist Cinnabon employee, claiming she was a victim of intimidation. Yeah. And that the Somalian couple intimidated her. The fundraiser was launched by a man named Tom Hennessy, whose relation to the Cinnabon employee is not mentioned, but he raised more than $100,000. The description reads, 2 Somali customers decide to make her shift hell with intimidation. Instead of banning the offenders and backing their employees, Cinnabon fires Crystal to keep the nons happy. We're letting this slide. We're not letting this slide. Funds go to making sure Crystal lands on her feet. After this betrayal, a white person should lose their job for refusing to be harassed by Somalians. They're not even waiting for it to be history to change the narrative. We literally have the video that was posted hours ago, and already the narrative has transformed into, no. the person who's racist is actually the victim here. And the individuals who are the victim, they are the perpetrator. Hell of a thing. Another fundraiser posted to, once again, GoFundMe on behalf of the Somali couple by Sabrina Osman, who says she's the cousin of the Somali woman recording the video and was first to post on the TikTok channel. It has only raised $4,600 so far. Yeah. And this is how Osman described the incident on the GoFundMe. Quote, my cousin and her husband, Black Somali Muslim couple, were out shopping and decided to stop at Cinnabon for a quick treat. As soon as they walked in, they could tell the atmosphere was not welcoming at all because of this worker's facial expression and attitude. My cousin ordered the caramel pecan cinnamon roll, and when the lady was squeezing the caramel, she hardly put on any. Then my cousin asked if she can put some more because it's not enough. The caramel appeared to be running low, and my cousin asked, are you running low? Don't you have any more? The worker then said she would warm it up a little because she didn't want it to be hot and hurt herself. Then she, quote, you could see me squeezing it through the witchcraft bandana you're wearing on top of your head. Basically referring to my cousin's hijab. And that's when my cousin pulled out her phone and started recording. My cousin called me crying after this incident in, quote, that's a hell of a day at the Cinnabon. All right. So it seems as if the franchise owner decided to act swiftly, said the right thing in the follow-up. But you have to imagine if somebody is this comfortable saying such racist things on an average workday, it may not be the first time they have done it. It may not be the first time this culture has been protected. It may not be the first time that somebody has been offended. Also, you have to look at potential cause and effect. I do find it ironic that 2 days after Trump decides to engage in his bigotry and racism against Somalia, that there's a bigoted and racist incident perpetrated by this Cinnabon worker. Once again, the saga continues. All right, dear brother, thoughts?
You know, this hits me really close to home. I know you can't tell this because you only see me chest up, but I'm a skinny person. And if it were not for Cinnabon, I would probably be back to my birth weight at this point. So it's just really, really, really tragic for Cinnabon to be engaged in this. Obviously, the company did the right thing firing this lady. Donald Trump has given permission for these roaches who were previously hiding under the rugs and hiding under the refrigerator that scurried about to just come out in the open. Obviously, they have been emboldened since he descended that golden escalator of terror 10 years ago. These people have existed before, but now in America, it's perfectly acceptable for them to come out. And they even raise millions of dollars like Charlotte Hendrick, you mentioned. What pisses me off more than anything is the fact that they cannot pick a lane. Either you are allowed and proud racist who's comfortable saying the N-word in front of a camera, in front of people on your job, or you are the type of person that cries wolf when you get consequences for your actions. But you can't be both.
Right.
Either be loud and proud, accept your firing and go, start a podcast or whatever the right wingers do now. But you can't pretend like you're the victim and the big bad defender of racism.
Right.
So it really boggles the mind the level of cognitive dissonance these people are, I guess, not experiencing at playing both roles. And I'm sort of fatigued of seeing it, but I'm sure we are only at the beginning of this terrible, terrible iceberg of racism that's caused by this president.
Yeah, and that's the reason that light is the best disinfectant to this madness. Hopefully, it does help to expose and potentially to correct individuals who would engage in such madness. We'll bring you updates as they come. All right, well, we have another victim of the Goon Squad. Remember the infamous Goon Squad out of Mississippi? We have another victim according to a new lawsuit. We have some background. Here it is. Michael C. Jenkins was in the hospital after he was shot in the mouth. By one of the deputies. Jenkins was left for dead. Essentially, his deputies rendered no aid to help him whatsoever. I remember the picture of Mr. Eddie Parker, Terrell's injuries, the crime scene of January 24th, 2023. Again, 6 officers entered the residence of Jenkins and Parker without a warrant, alleging they were there to carry out a late drug raid that resulted in both black men being beaten, sexually assaulted, waterboarded, assailed with racial slurs and shot with tasers, roughly 90 minutes or more, all while handcuffed. Accusations of them dating white women were hurled. Items found at the crime scene: a sexual device on the left, eggs on the right. After officers attempted to sexually assault the men with the sexual device, both men were forced to shower together. Eggs were also hurled at the 2 men. When we saw the photo of you in the hospital, when my team and I received information about what happened prior and that the officer shot you in the mouth, what was it like after the aftermath of this, the hospital stay, the conversations that needed to happen around why were you placed in this situation?
It was difficult. The hardest part, the way they did my mama. And they left me for dead, and then turned around, wouldn't let my parents see me, and then go in my room 24 hours, and just waking up, seeing them handcuffed to the bed, feet, arms. Man, it was terrible. I mean, it was terrible. I don't know. It was bad.
I would imagine that even after you're in the hospital, Michael, that you are likely thinking these individuals are going to try to do something else to you. Did that sentiment ever go through your mind?
Yes, sir.
Very sad saga, but these men experienced significant corruption, violence, could have died. You have more victims who are now coming forward. Here we go. Earlier this year, we came to you with news that the final chapter of the so-called Goon Squad, 6 rogue cops who terrorized central Mississippi, we thought it was over, as Rankin County officials agreed to pay $2.5 million to settle a federal lawsuit, a federal civil rights lawsuit, sparking outrage from residents who said the payout doesn't come close to delivering justice for the 2 black men who were tortured by deputies and another cop. It was 2 jurisdictions involved illegally. The settlement finalized 2 years after the brutal January 24th, 2023 attack on Mr. Michael Jenkins and Mr. Eddie Parker concludes a $400 million legal action against Rankin County and the sheriff, Brian Bailey. Now, a new victim of the Mississippi Goon Squad emerges in a recently filed lawsuit, and we have the details. So a white Mississippi deputy now serving 40 years in prison for physically abusing and sexually assaulting citizens, including 2 black men while part of a corrupt Goon Squad gang of white cops, is now being sued for pulling out his private parts and rubbing it on the face and bare buttocks of another man he was arresting. The federal lawsuit states former Rankin County Sheriff's Deputy Christian Dedman also pulled out his gun and fired a round into the ground near the man's head as the man was being held down on the ground by other deputies. There's more. Dedman then followed the shooting by taking another deputy's taser and tasering the man in the back 3 times. Alan Jackson Smith, who is white, had been pulled over for an expired registration, according to the lawsuit filed on his behalf by attorney Trent Walker, accusing Deputy Dedman and several other deputies of violating his 4th and 14th Amendment rights. There's more. Aside from Dedman, 3 other former deputies listed as defendants in the lawsuit: Brett McAlpin, Hunter Elward, and Daniel Updike are also serving lengthy prison sentences for their roles in abusing two black men, Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Parker, January 2023, as well as for abusing Mr. Schmidt, December 2022. The former Rankin County deputies, Jeffrey Middleton and Joshua Hatfield, who are also serving prison sentences for their roles in abusing the black men, are not listed in Smith's lawsuit, but they may be one of the 7 John Does listed as defendants. I'm going to give you some background to this, and there are extreme and difficult details. But the victim, and by proxy, all of the victims deserve a voice. When we said back during our first reporting of this is likely the most corrupt police force, police agency in the United States, corrupt, extreme, negligent, extreme, violent, not solving crime. There are other police departments per capita that are much larger and per capita. They have a different kind of effect on the community. I'm talking about in this county. I would be surprised if anybody wasn't. There's more. Traffic stop. Mr. Smith was pulled over on December 4th. This was 2022 for allegedly driving with an expired registration, but was then accused of possessing stolen property. The deputies pulled him out of his car and decided to torture him, beat him, sexually assault him. Do you see a theme here? Trying to get false information or a false confession out of him. Quote, Defendant Dedman instructed Defendant Elward to force the plaintiff to see his knees. The claim state, quote, at that time, Dedman pulled out his private parts and attempted to rub his private parts in the face of the plaintiff. The filing continued, quote, later, Defendant Dedman threatened to have the plaintiff killed in the jail if the plaintiff reported what had happened. Smith was taken to jail but never formally charged with a crime. Quote, I thought this was it, Smith told the New York Times last year. I'm never going to see my family again, end quote. According to the New York Times article originally covering the Goon Squad, deputies held people down while punching and kicking them or shocked them repeatedly with tasers. This was common. They shoved gun barrels into people's mouths. 3 people said deputies had waterboarded them until they thought they would suffocate. 5 said deputies had told them to move out of the county. Many of the targets teetered on the edge of homelessness and were caught with a few grams of meth or with only drug paraphernalia, no drugs, maybe a glass pipe or a used syringe. Several people sat in jail for days or weeks, only to have their charges completely dropped, dismissed. Investigative reporters interviewed more than 50 people who said they witnessed or experienced torture by at least 20 Rankin County Sheriff's deputies. Did you hear that? 20 Rankin County Sheriff deputies. Now, when we first reported on this, the sheriff himself said he knew nothing about this gang. This Goon Squad had no idea this was happening in his county. Now, some people believed him then because it was just a handful of individuals, and it seemed to be one crew. I did not believe him for a moment. Now, we have information. It's not just the Goon Squad. It's everybody. You have at least 20 who are engaged, according to the reports based on interviews, in this kind of activity. The ones who may not be engaged in the activity, well, they are your protector class. They are protecting the activity of corruption because it's no way in the hell any police department can be worthy investigators, worthy detectives, and have no idea that the biggest gang are the ones who wear their uniform. And if you give a damn about your status as a cop, if you care about your pedigree as a police officer, if you actually would like good police to get credit, you have to be a good cop who outs the bad one. Because until that becomes the culture, until good policing becomes the culture, what you have is a corrupt culture that is allowed to permeate because the alleged good cop sit back and do not a damn thing. All right, Jamie, thoughts here?
Well, this is the first I've heard of this story, and as you were presenting it, you referred to these 6 as rogue cops, and so I wrote down like this behavior is way, way, way too brazen, too disgusting, too horrific, and involving the 6 of them to be just the 6 of them. And then when you later on would say there are 20 involved, I'm like, this is the department's problem. So this kind of behavior, Mississippi, what the hell's going on in Mississippi? It's like they're stuck in the 19th century. This is akin to something that you would hear about slave catchers, a story that you would hear about that rounding up runaway slaves. This should not be taking place in 2020 America. And even 2020 Mississippi, the 20 sheriff's deputies engaging in corruption, engaging in sexual harassment, sexual assault. The county I live in is about the same population size as Reagan County, Mississippi, and we have about 100 deputies working for our sheriff's office. So 20 is a gigantic percentage of what I'm assuming their sheriff's office would be. If we had a different administration, I would say the FBI needs to get involved and investigate top to bottom, solicitor general. I don't know what Mississippi state law, I'm assuming that they have attorney general that investigates stuff like this, but stories like this that keep coming out one right after the other and I'm a black man in America, so I already had very little faith in the institution, but I had just a semblance of it. If I had anything left, it's completely eroded by stuff like this. And I'm glad that at least we see justice in the case of these gentlemen who received a payout, and justice in the fact that these 6 from the Goon squad were incarcerated and received lengthy sentences. But this is not isolated to them. And this story isn't the first time they engaged in this awful behavior. They've been doing it. They've probably been doing it since they joined the force. And the force has been doing it probably since the days of slavery. And I don't know what to say to people when they say, well, is there any hope for the future when we have cases like this go on time and time and time and time again? But
well, here's the hope. And I hope this is that good people become police officers and remain good. That policy becomes exacting so that the public can benefit from good policing. If you have a policy that says you must wear your body camera and it must be on, that policy means nothing if there's no enforcement when a cop decides to turn it off and engage in criminal activity. That officer needs to be disciplined and potentially arrested for tampering with evidence, just like you would be if you decided to dismantle a camera that may or may not catch or capture no criminal activity. It needs to work both ways. And when it comes to police departments like this, the federal government has to get involved, but we have a federal government that would not get involved because of the current president of the United States. Go ahead, brother.
Equally corrupt. Federal government is equally corrupt. Now, ICE, the allegations of what ICE is doing is about the level of what these gentlemen were doing here. Yeah. But I was thinking that it's reasons why, like this, why we saw the Mississippi legislature went from a Republican supermajority. Now the Democrats have control. So hopefully there's some hope coming in that regard. But it's already illegal to do the things that these policemen were doing. So I don't know. It's not like they can make more laws because if they're comfortable breaking things as basic as don't sexually assault, don't pull your penis out in a traffic stop or whatever. But whatever, yeah.
You got to have enforcement, and enforcement.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, absolutely do.
That's courageous, and if you don't have that, you have nothing. I will bring updates. Obviously, there are more updates to bring. Okay, this is a very sad story. A nurse who broke the bones of newborn baby gets more charges. This was a hell of a story. Put it up full mass. It's quite unbelievable, but it happened according to the allegation. We have an update. The Virginia NICU nurse broke the bones, of newborn, is facing more charges. I'm going to give you a read down of the charges, but first, reminder that in January, we reported this to you. Virginia Henrico officer had arrested a hospital nurse, NICU nurse. Her name is Erin Strotman. Nurse Strotman was charged with felony counts of malicious wounding and abuse of a child causing serious injury. This nurse was taken into custody. This came 1 week after the hospital announced it was temporarily stopping admissions to the neonatal intensive care unit after 3 babies were found to have unexplained fractures. This was in 2023. Now, charges were first announced against the 26-year-old nurse, nurse Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman in January, stemming from a disturbing case in which multiple babies were found with unexplained fractures in the unit of Henrico Doctors Hospital in Richmond, Virginia. Nurse Strotman was initially charged with malicious wounding, child abuse, and neglect in connection with a 5-month-old boy whose bones were broken on November 2024. A criminal complaint cited surveillance footage that reportedly showed Strotman taking the infant by his leg and pushing the child's legs to the point his feet reached his head. I know that's gruesome. There's more. Gradually, as more evidence emerged, the case against her grew. And prosecutors ended up filing 20 child abuse-related charges against her for the injuries she allegedly inflicted for 9 babies in total. That's according to WWBT. I want you to think about that number. 9. Prosecutors have to go back and investigate. Well, how do they investigate? Well, at this point, you have to investigate by way of testimony from parents, testimony perhaps from doctors and nurses, and testimony based on what was part of the written record back during that time. Which also means that more than likely you had complaints happening in real time that my child, my baby has had this issue and that issue. I wonder how many parents were blamed for the abuse of this nurse. There's more. Hospital administrators, they did launch an internal investigation. This took place November in 2024. This was after 3 babies were found with unexplainable fractures. The hospital said the discovery resembled an incident in 2023 when 4 babies were also found with fractures. The numbers are adding. The Henrico Doctors Hospital placed the nurse on paid administrative leave for a year following the incident in 2023. But she was allowed to return to the hospital in late 2024. What? They placed the nurse on leave, paid her for a go-home vacation under inquiry that she perhaps was abusing children. The hospital's policy dictates that all suspected cases of child abuse are to be reported within 24 hours of discovery. However, Virginia Department of Health officials stated that they were not notified about the 2023 incidents until weeks after they happened. Between August 5th and September 5th, 2023, 4 premature babies were found with unexplained fractures, but VDH, or social services, they were not notified until September 20th. The agency also learned that the hospital violated other policies after the staff reported they could not identify all personnel members who came into contact with each patient or collected lab results, another violation that the hospital engaged in. As the criminal case against Nurse Stropman developed, the Virginia Board of Nursing suspended her nursing license, concluded that, quote, a substantial danger to public health and safety warranted the decision. State records show that Nurse Stropman was issued her license in May 2019. She began working at that hospital that same year. Her license was suspended in May 2025. This is a sad story because babies, the most innocent of life, they are involved as victims coming straight into this world. Victims already. The hospital, they violated multiple policies, including the policy that said, we need to know everybody who has contact with patients and every nurse who does lab work. That is simple. That is common. I sit on the board of directors for a hospital in Atlanta. That is industry standard. There is absolutely nothing extreme about that policy because when something does go wrong, you only have a few people who had contact with that patient, with that baby, or who did a lab. And you know everybody who's in the chain of custody for that. But when you don't follow those protocols, all of a sudden, you have to depend on guessing. Well, they had the right person. They sent her home. They suspended her for a year. But here's why they let her back, I believe. Because they couldn't prove it. Why couldn't they prove it? Because they had too many individuals who could not be accounted for, who had access to the patient, to the baby, and to the labs. Because they decided not to follow protocol. Why did it take them so long to report it? Because they knew they messed up. That is my opinion. It's very sad that this happened. Obviously, Nurse Stropman, this individual is extreme and evil in what they have done or attempted to do. And I believe that there are more babies who have likely been victimized that they're not counting. All right, dear brother, thoughts here?
Yeah, we stack these stories back to back. I don't know how anyone can have faith in our institutions after this point. The institutions completely sleep at the wheel, be it, sheriff's office or a hospital. These things that were supposed to and are designed to protect us, to keep us from dying, to benefit us, are doing the exact opposite. They're the institutions by which we are becoming victims. The last time I was on this show, we covered the story about the young lady, I believe it was in Ohio or Indiana, was forced out of the hospital while she was in labor, had to deliver her baby in the parking lot. So it's constant failure after failure after failure after failure of these institutions. I mean, America is the richest country on the face of the earth, the most developed nation on the face of the earth. We are above these things. Why are we comfortable with living in a third world country that we are allowed our system to devolve into? Where are the investigators? Where are the institutions that are supposed to be investigating these things? I recognize you said you were on the board. These protocols are not rocket science. It's not the 60s and 70s. We've already had incidences of nurses and doctors abusing patients and babies getting stolen for decades and decades and decades. And the system has evolved. It's supposed to have evolved. There's supposed to be protocols for these things that go according to design so that these things are not allowed to happen. Yet we see them happening time and time and time and time and time again. I don't know if there's a racial component to the story, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a terrible thing. Like you said, this woman is an evil person to abuse the most vulnerable beings on the face of the earth, infants. And I wonder how many parents, like you said, were investigated. I work in a family court. Nobody's life and death is under my control directly, but I still have umpteen different protocols I have to abide by, regulation I have to abide by, mandatory report. I have to do all those things or I'll be fired. There's somebody that's checking up after me to make sure I'm doing my job. And nobody's life will be on the line if I don't. Yet this woman who is directly responsible for the lives of infants is allowed to just abuse them unabatedly. It's tragic.
Yeah. I hope that a class action lawsuit is at least being discussed and is launched against this hospital. It definitely calls for one. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
What contributions to the progressive cause are you most proud of? I mean, I don't have super high aspirations for a singular role that I can play in the movement or anything. I try to present myself as what I think that I am, which is a progressive man who is driven by I think, well interrogated and well organized system of values that I try to stay consistent on, and I demonstrate that that's the sort of life that a person can lead and be successful and be happy and all of that. And that should not need to be done, but there are so many people on the right that are trying to push men in the opposite direction that I want to be able to do that. Along the way, if I can get people to care about some topics that they wouldn't necessarily care about, or that for some men they might think that's not a topic that they should be focused on, that's definitely something that I relish doing. And along the way, I mean, we've been able to introduce people to a lot of candidates. That's been a big part of what we've done. Not all of them necessarily got in office. Probably most of them did not. And a lot of them you might not even remember their names. But it was great to be able to provide people the platform where they had the chance of, making a difference. Obviously AOC and all that, but there's been a lot of great people along the way.
In the bonus episode for the members, we do some inside baseball. We're gonna look at John's desk. Nice little spaceship here. Nerd. But it is kind of look cool. Who has Legos? Oh no. He's taken apart a keyboard. Who has a mouse pad that's this big? He's got a dog with a nose that you can hang something on. You know what this desk screams to me? Nerd. And that's how we like him. We love Johnny Pie. He's got his own personality like everybody does at TYT. Come meet us all in the bonus episodes. TYT.com/team.
David Sorrell, Anita Turner. Adam Green drop by.
Charlemagne.
Congressman, great to have you. It's great to be with you, Chang.
Your show is a great thing. You're informing people. A lot of the shows that I live on, my CNN, my MSNBC, and even Fox, and any of the other shows, NPR, they are so quick to decide that they know what this building means today.
The one thing that I hate that politicians do, they talk about the people they should be talking to.
Do they have any idea that they're the establishment and that they're hated? Or do they not realize that at all?
People are so deeply in their little universe. I think it's very easy to not really question what you're doing.
Voters have a right to ask questions of any nominee, whether they're independent, Republican, or Democrat.
The system is duopoly that suppresses competition.
How is it the year 2024 and we're still like, maybe they'll talk about paid medical? Like how is that like at one level it's like, good, what we're talking about it now. You're like, it's 2024.
And that's always been the critique, that your critique of us is, well, you guys give good speeches, you put out good tweets, but you're not wielding actual power. Now we're starting to.
My favorite news platform by far. It's not even close.
It's about a country and a principle, and that's what you and I both work to achieve. And I'm so glad that at least half the battle has now been won.
If you want to go really hear what's going on, honestly, you should tune into the Young Turks.
Thanks for doing such a great job. Please keep it up. Hang tough.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Oh, I like making you happy.
I didn't know about
This
that.
is a happy Anna Kasparian. You're welcome, YouTube.
Join the Dragon Squad by becoming a YouTube channel member. Click the join button below or sign up on tyt.com/join to get access to fun emojis, a member-only chat, exclusive shop TYT designs, ad-free watching, and so many other amazing perks. Plus, you get bragging rights for being part of the coolest community on the internet and help us drive real positive change in the world. The Dragon Squad awaits, so join today.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We got a lot of comments. I will read as many as I can. Embedded Dude said he's right. She's so fired. Mike Nice to You says, good afternoon, Doc. Jamie, MOD's in chat. Good afternoon back to you. Robert Tables, she stuttered when she said stutter. You could not make that up. That's right. Love it, white girl. I prefer my racists loud and proud. The quiet ones are worse. That's right. There you go. All right. Got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
You do not get to yell at me. Do not yell at me.
You walked off your post.
Do not yell at me. Do not yell at me. I don't care if I walked off my post, if I did any of that.
You're fired.
You cannot fire me.
Yes, I can.
No, you cannot.
You walked off your post. That's a violation.
My supervisor. And
I am a supervisor.
You're not my supervisor.
Yes,
I don't care
am.
who you are. Do not talk to me like that. I went in there to see what time I should leave. I did
You
not.
cannot do that. You walked off your post.
Look, I don't care who. Look, you cannot talk to me like that.
You walked off your post.
You're not firing me. I'm going to go talk to somebody in actual charge because you obviously don't know what you're doing. Look.
That is in violation of InstaWork.
You are not
You go into
my
InstaWork.
supervisor. I do not care what you're talking about. I left my post to see what time I'm supposed to leave.
That is a violation of your policy.
Nobody told me none of that, so
It's
I don't know
an
what you're
InstaWorks
talking about.
policy.
When I came here to come, what do you like? Who do you think you are? Like for real? Are you InstaWork? Like
I've seen
I'm so
InstaWorks
confused.
policy.
I'm
I've
done
worked
talking
for
to you.
InstaWork.
You obviously don't know what you're talking about.
Yes,
So I'm
He had no authority. No authority at all. He said, you're fired. Put it up full mass. The male Karen here, ladies and gentlemen, has zero authority. Could have fooled a few people, but the man behind the camera was not tricked at all. All right, male Karen tries to fire a contractor he had no authority over. According to Atlanta Black Star, independent contractor in Wisconsin refused to back down when a fellow gig worker adopted a fake air of authority and tried to fire him. After a 12-hour shift, the black contractor, who goes by Lizzie Busy on social media, briefly stepped away from his post to check his official clock out time. He later explained in the comment section of his November 22nd TikTok video that his replacement was already there, waiting to start, when an unidentified white male began to badger him, threatening to kick him off the job site. In the end, justice prevailed, and the comments erupted in likes and applauses when Lizzie Busy wrote the next day, I went to work today, he got fired. Just so the guy, meaning the white male, fired somebody, but he's not in charge of anything. Jamie, does that sound like something called, I don't know, privilege?
Maybe just a little bit, just a tiny bit. You know, this man was born with that authority. He probably in his head is the master of the universe. He can hire and fire any person that he wants to in his mind. Now, the problem is he let his intrusive thoughts become intrusive words. But you know, we've all been sitting on a job. We're looking at our coworkers and they weren't doing what they're supposed to do. And you're doing your job like you're supposed to. And you think, I just wish somebody would say something to that person. But you're not her boss, so you're not his boss. So you don't. This person did not, he's missing that chunk of his brain where he realized that other people are existing on this planet. He's not the main character. Who the hell are you? Who are you? Come up to me and be like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. And to even offer him, I wouldn't even have done that. This man is much nicer than I am. I would not have offered him any kind of explanation as to what I was legitimately doing. I would give him, well, I would walk off is what I'm gonna say while I'm on camera. I would probably give him a bit more than that, but not so you can prove. Anyway, there are people like this walking all over this planet. I thank God every day I have not yet encountered one of them in the wild, but they're everywhere. So I'm bound to step on one. Yeah. I wouldn't have wasted any oxygen on this man, but I'm glad that justice was prevailed and that whatever this institution is, it fired him, because you can't have crazy people like this working and representing you in the public.
He'll end up firing his boss. The way he's going. All right, so glad everything worked out. Okay. What if I told you that a black woman traveled 3 hours to confront a racist person from TikTok, a TikTok troll, you will call them. Here it is.
I think this is the right building. I think this is his car. All right. Let's see how this goes.
Hello?
Hello. I'm looking for a mic. Does a mic work here?
Yeah.
Can I speak to him?
Sure. What's this about?
Are you Mike?
Yeah.
Can I step inside? It's cold.
Sure.
Thank you. How you doing? Nice. So, a couple days ago, you left a comment under somebody's comment section.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that by any chance?
Not really.
It was regarding Tennessee, District 7. Yeah, well, John, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I was that person that you commented under. Oh. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Crazy world. But I just wanted you to know, you see how easy I found you? It's not cool, right?
No.
Okay. Before I go to the next video, let me say this in full disclosure. My producers and I, we are not completely sure if this was staged or if this is 100% authentic. We're going to let you decide. Now, I do not recommend anyone to do anything like this in their personal lives. Do not track down people who are racist because of a social media post. They are already living in a hell of their own. Just know that. Okay, so there's more to the story. So once again, according to the narrative, she did drive 3 hours to track down an individual who made a racist comment and went to his door. Here's what happened next.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the opportunity and apologize, or I'm going to show your wife the grounded account I found. How do you feel about that?
Not yet.
Right. It's crazy world out here. So I did make this apology. In case, you don't have to. I understand it's hard, but all you have to do is read this nice little apology I wrote. Thank you. Go ahead.
Mike.
Uh-huh.
Do apologize for my actions.
Uh-huh.
And I see the consequences of my actions.
Uh-huh.
And I will not do
Say it louder.
I will not do this to anyone else ever again.
Oh, good job, Mike. Thank you. I'll take that back from you. Yeah, I need that for other people. It was really nice meeting you.
Put it up for a mask. According to The Root, TikTok user Davillian Newmaid posted a video of her allegedly driving 3 hours to confront someone who had left racist comments on her video. Her page has since been made private, but the video has gone so viral that the users have been reposting it all over the app. The original comments have since been deleted, but TikTok users have reposted screenshots of them. The comments were in response to a video where the individual spoke about the tight race between Republicans and Democrats in the Tennessee District 7 election. Republican Congressman Matt Van Epps won the election on Tuesday, December 2nd, according to the Nashville Banner. Mike's deleted screenshots show him referring to Black people with the N-word and saying that Black people are constantly whining. He also added that he has Black fatigue, something we've spoken about on the show. After the individual reminded Mike of the hateful messages he left under her video, she then told him she would give him a chance to apologize or give his wife his Grindr account. After Mike agreed to apologize, she pulled out an apology she had written for him from her pocket and asked him to speak up while he read it. Quote, I, Mike, do apologize for my actions. I see the consequences of my actions, and I will not do this to anyone else ever again. Mike read. Once he finished reading the apology letter, she told him it was so nice meeting you before walking out and ending the video. No one was harmed in the making of such. Okay, Jamie, thoughts here. What's the verdict?
First of all, I'm in love with this woman. I am very much in love with this woman. And staged or not, there are people who can really do this. There are people who know how to manipulate the internet well enough they can find people who they're looking for. And there are people who are this petty. I know that firsthand because I'm among them. So for all of you people who are commenting on the internet, thinking that this is a safe environment, secure and perfectly, your anonymity is perfectly protected, it is not. So be nice to one another. And if you have a secret Grindr account or a secret Tinder account or a secret, any kind of secret account, don't be racist.
Yeah.
Don't be mean, because what's done in the dark comes to the light. And I hope Mike, or whatever his name was, received a valuable education. And if it is staged, I hope people who are like Mike, because there are really people like Mike, receive that same education. But I may be wishing on a prayer, hoping on a prayer that it may not ever come. But I'm in love, even still.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll call it a public service announcement either way.
Very much.
All right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
There's one reason why healthcare is so messed up in this country, and that's because of our money in politics situation. Because those industries that are deeply corrupt can just simply purchase all of Congress. And then the problem never gets fixed because of that bribery. Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's greed, and it's the greed of politicians, right? I mean, so everything they do is dictated by the donors and the money. I mean, I shouldn't say that, not everything. A lot of what they do is, and I do think that there are people who do things in spite of the fact that they have to raise money and often don't get that money and often don't win because they don't, but are in there fighting for ideals that they believe in. Bernie Sanders is certainly an example of someone like that.
I'm back to gaslighting. Did you and I talk about gaslighting on Old School?
Probably.
That boss gaslit all his female employees. People who manipulate others like that make you feel like you're the weirdo. Why won't you punch yourself in the face? What is wrong with you? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why didn't I just punch myself in the face and poke my eye out? I'm 47 and I just figured it out like earlier this year.
You figured out somebody was doing it to you, or that you were
that it was that it would have been happening my whole life and I didn't realize it.
Right.
You want to know the 3 shows that I'm watching lately? Shogun, Anjin-san. Those guys are badasses. Then you go to the Duttons, Yellowstone. Now, they don't always do it right, but they are badasses. But the 3rd show has the biggest badasses of all, the Young Turks. Live every weekend. Sick that I was so good. God damn it. Okay, live. Weekdays at 6 o'clock Eastern. That's what I meant. Anjin-san.
How do you know if you're a populist? Easy. Do you work for the donor class? You don't? Great, you're a populist. Okay, so the establishment takes money from the donors and serves the donors. Mainstream media takes money from advertisers, and they are giant corporations themselves, and they work for themselves, and they work for the powerful. If you care about the average person, and you want the average person to have better healthcare, better wages, a better life, and you hate corruption, congrats, you're a populist.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it and bathe in the sweet, twitchy Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
Follow that guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, at the _ Jose Monkey. Yeah. If you have hundreds of videos or posts, anyone can find you. Yeah. And I think this is Celine_Antonia. Yeah, I wouldn't drive 3 hours for no one, but it's funny though. Yeah. Hilarious. Okay. All right. Well, we have an update from a story that we brought you not too long ago. Remember Carolyn Levitt? Remember the whole ICE detainee situation with her family? ICE detainee says it was a mistake to even trust Carolyn Levitt, period. Put it up full mass. We got some family drama background. So in an update, Bruna Fiera, the mother of White House Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt's nephew, said she, quote, made a mistake by trusting her in-laws after she was arrested by ICE and cast by the administration as a criminal and absent parent. If you remember when we first reported on this story, I said, I believe the Levitt family, I think there's a setup. I believe there's something else happening here that we don't know about. There's more information to the story. So Ms. Ferreira was arrested November 12th by ICE and faces deportation to Brazil after overstaying a visa from when she was a child in 1998. Her arrest was captured on video as multiple unmarked SUVs surrounded her car. Okay? She shares an 11-year-old son with Mr. Michael Levitt, the press secretary's brother, and claimed in an exclusive video interview with the Washington Post from a detention center in Louisiana on Sunday that at one point she even asked Carolyn Levitt to be her son's godmother. Quote, I asked Carolyn to be godmother over my only sister, she said Thursday. I made a mistake there in trusting. Ferreira rounded on the White House's response to her connection to the press secretary. Quote, why they're creating this narrative is beyond my wildest imagination. End quote. The White House insists Ferreira was neither close to the family nor involved in her son's upbringing. Officials distributed a Department of Homeland Security statement describing her as a criminal. Ferreira called the characterization insulting and disgusting, adding that Levitt's defense of anti-immigration raids sits uneasily with the family reality she says she knows. For nearly a decade, Ferreira and Michael Levitt reportedly shared caregiving responsibilities. The pair met at a nightclub and had their son before breaking up in 2015. Despite having reportedly threatened to have her deported, Michael Levitt told the Washington Post he had no role in her arrest, even though he threatened to have her deported. Quote, I have no control over that and had no involvement in that whatsoever, end quote. He just had motive, obviously, and threatened the exact action that happened. Ferreira contested the claim that she was not a present parent or in her son's life and argued that as recently as the spring, she approved her son's visit to the White House Easter egg roll and said she moved mountains to make sure he could be at Levitt's wedding back in January. In addition, a 2014 news article, 2014 now, 2014 news article about Levitt's brother winning $1 million. Yeah, he won $1 million. As part of a fantasy football competition, included him saying that Ferreira was his fiancée. He added that they lived together with their 8-month-old son. Quote, I need the lights fixed on the back of my car, Ferreira told a local paper when asked if their family had immediate needs for the $1 million. Quote, and we need a lamp for my son's room. Other than that, we don't really need much. We have our health. We have a nice condo. We really are blessed, end quote. Levy said he planned to spend some of the money by taking Ferreira on a trip to the West Coast. Why? Because according to him, that's his fiance. There's more. Dos Santos Rodriguez, okay, this is Bruno Ferreira's sister, revealed that some in the Levitt family, including her child's father, pushed her to self-deport after she was detained back to a country where she has had no home, hardly speaks the language. Quote, they just kept saying, tell her to self-deport. She told the Globe. Self-deport to where? Brazil is not her home. They're trying to push it off as a vacation. It's not a vacation. Bruna barely speaks the language. Bruna's concern, she said, remains primarily for her son, and she fears the prospect of never seeing him again. He needs me now, she said of her son. He doesn't need me in 20 years. Once again, sounds like a setup to me. Sounds as if they co-conspired in order to get her to either self-deport. When that didn't work, according to the allegation, her ex-fiance threatened to have her deported, and then she gets arrested for deportation. He goes on record, he says, I had nothing to do with the arrest or the deportation, but are you fighting to stop it? You see, my child's mother, I call her the queen of my child's life. We're not together. We haven't been together in decades. We have a beautiful relationship. We take care of our daughter. Our daughter is now a rising junior in college. I would fight tooth and nail with everything in my being to stop something like that from ever happening to the mother of my child, together or not together, because that is still my child's mother. So we could talk about if he did anything to get her deported. The issue for a man like me is, are you doing anything to stop the mother of your child from being deported out of this country? Now that's the standard for me. And you definitely are not rising up to that one. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
First thought is she said she made a mistake trusting Carolyn Leavitt, and my mind went, duh, the woman lies for a living. That is literally what she gets paid to do, lie professionally, lie every day, all day. These are terrible, terrible people to allow, and I'm with you. I do divorce mediation for a living, child custody disputes, and I do that all the time. And nothing gets my goat worse than to have a case, sit down, between two litigants, and I see evidence presented that one party has allowed the other one to be lambasted on Facebook, or one party has a new girlfriend, a new boyfriend, and the boyfriend is talking all kind of mess about the mother or the father in front of the child. So that disgusts me more than anything. So for the fact that this man will allow the mother of his child to be lambasted publicly, so they're now allegedly creating this false narrative that she was a terrible mother, and that's being litigated in the media. And this child is born 14, 11, 12 years old, is old enough to be paying attention to that. So now his whole family dispute between mommy and daddy is on national TV, let alone being the impetus of her being deported, which is insane. I don't care how much you hate her. People say all the time that you hate your former spouse more than you love your child. And I think that this is a perfect example of that. I mean, this man is, I think, the epitome of evil. I think he probably needs to have his son taken away from him if he allows this to transpire. I tend to agree with you. It does seem like there's some sort of conspiracy going on. And maybe he was talking out of his ass when he said she was going to have her deported. But lo and behold, your sister becomes the mouthpiece for the Trump administration, the mouthpiece for this evil movement of ICE snatching people up. I mean, this woman has been in the country longer than I have, if her visa expired in 1998. So she was, there's no allegation of her having any kind of criminal record. The Trump administration got reelected by campaigning on the fact that they're going to deport criminals, people who are here committing crimes and are a burden on the institutions that we all support. Not people who've been here for 30, 40 years that you didn't notice. They were contributing to society, that have had children and have neighbors and loved ones and getting married. So these are not the people that we elected, not we, I obviously didn't vote for the man, but the people that voted for him did not elect him to target people like this. Yet it seems like they're exclusively targeting people like this.
That's right. That's right.
And it turns my stomach.
Yeah, it's extreme, it's insane, it's unbelievable, but it is real. And that is the reason we continue to bring light. Okay, we got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
I don't care if you're Christian. In fact, I will fight for you to have your religious liberty and practice your Christianity. I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way I live my life based on your religion. I don't care what the Bible says. You have every right in the world. All those women who identify with your religion have every right in the world to not get an abortion, to not take birth control, but they do not have the right to dictate my life and what I decide to do with my body. I don't care about your goddamn religion. I'm so tired of having nonstop conversations about what the Bible says. You live your life in the way that you interpret the Bible. Again, I don't care, but you don't get to take the Bible and tell me, well, the Bible says this in this chapter, in this verse. I don't care. I don't care, I don't believe in it, and I have the right, based on our Constitution, to not believe in it.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
No one is representing what I call the silent majority, which is about 2/3 of this country, indisputably progressive.
But now we say the time has come for regime change in American television.
The Young Turks Network.
You have the Young Turks saying this is the time to fight for our values.
Young Turks is the oldest left media institution I believe that there is. Real front runner in the online media space.
You guys might know us.
Biggest online left of center outlet that exists.
All of you know the Young Turks.
People from this district heard about Justice Democrats by watching your show.
Thanks to the Young Turks for covering Trayvon Martin's case early on when few people were covering.
They don't stop, I won't stop. Racism won't stop, so I won't stop.
Species are at risk of going extinct. Major media outlets did not dedicate much time at all to that.
We reached a whole heap of people with our progressive message.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks. 300 million is a pretty good number, Well, that's the size of the US population. You know what our next target is? The size of the entire world.
We just crossed 5 billion views on YouTube.
I mean, imagine 10 years ago thinking, one day, we would have looked at you like, are you nuts?
Young Turks has just passed another milestone. 25 billion lifetime views.
Damn.
Whoa, too strong, way too strong. That's 25 billion times someone watched the progressive message delivered to people all over the world. You know who helped to do that? You guys did. Our members and our audience are amazing, and they helped us to reach 2 generations, both millennials and Gen Z. They're both super progressive. And I gotta tell you, we're just getting started. Thank you.
Corruption, injustice, the system is rigged against you. Every day we're blasted by a flurry of terrible news from every angle, which can make it challenging to stay positive and know how to fight back. The Damage Report is your solution. I'm Johnny DeRola, and my daily morning show cuts through the noise and exposes the real damage being done to our country, the world, and how we can fight back against it. Corporate greed crushing workers? We'll name names. Politicians selling you out for their corporate overlords? We've got the receipts. Climate disaster, economic collapse, the rise of fascism. No spin, no establishment talking points, just the truth that you need to survive and resist. But it's not all doom and gloom. We'd love to have you join the Dragon Squad, our community of positive-minded activists who turn the day's news into positive action. With new episodes every weekday, listen to The Damage Report to get honest news, unflinching commentary, and daring coverage you won't find anywhere else. Listen to The Damage Report on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, because understanding the damage is the first step.
All right, welcome back. We have breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Jasmine Crockett is now running for the U.S. Senate. Let's put it up. Well, Mass, I have some background. She has finally made the official proclamation. Jasmine Crockett launches her campaign for Texas Democratic Senate primary after Colin Aldrich drops out. Representative Crockett reportedly filed paperwork today to run for the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate in the state of Texas. This is hours ahead of an upcoming press conference where she will reportedly make the announcement official. Proclamation has been made by way of the paperwork. In the Democratic primary, Cochran will face a few individuals. These folk have already raised money. One in particular has raised over $6 million in the first 3 weeks. So she got some hills to climb here as far as fundraising is concerned. CBS News reports that Crockett's entry into the race comes after another Democratic Senate candidate, former rep Colin Aldrich of Dallas, dropped out of the race earlier on Monday. Obviously, some level of coordination happening, at least a conversation or two. Okay, here we go. This is going to be interesting given the high level of attention Trump has placed on the state of Texas. It is going to be interesting to see the person that really gets him very uncomfortable and always reactionary, Ms. Crockett. Going to see how the dilemma between them two continues to phase in and phase out of politics. I think she's a brilliant human being. Anytime Donald Trump says you are not, that means that you are. All right. Okay. Jamie, thoughts here?
Yeah, congratulations to her. I think Jasmine Crockett has sort of the secret sauce when it comes to being a politician, which is being able to dominate the media. So certainly women like her, Marjorie Taylor Greene, AOC, this new renaissance of women in Congress has sort of propelled them to the front and foremost part of U.S. politics at the moment. And the fact that Donald Trump hates women, hates black people. So she's always in she's, what's the saying? In your head for rent free, something like that, whatever.
Right, it is rent free, yeah.
She occupies space in his brain rent free. And so he will probably weigh in and probably say all kind of terrible things about her, which will probably bump her up in the polls. I'm hoping that Texas has sort of been like that Charlie Brown in the football for the longest. You know, Democrats have been polling well in there for as long as I've been in politics. So Beto O'Rourke was supposed to, do this gigantic upset, not once but twice against Ted Cruz. Granted, now this is going to be an open seat, and that the South has sort of had a blue wave. Mississippi just flipped their legislative chambers from Republican supermajority to Democrat majority, and then Tennessee in that Trump district, it narrowed a good deal. So there may be some hope. I hope so. Fingers are crossed. But she's definitely, I suspect she'll probably be the front runner in this primary. I don't know anything about the other candidates, but I wish her well. She would be a great addition to the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, and she's not afraid to speak up. She's not afraid to go against the grain. She's not afraid to be critical of her own party, which we have seen many Democrats, when it comes to that ultimate test of critiquing the Democratic Party, that separates, in my opinion, a real leader from a politician. If you're not willing to critique your own party when your party needs some critiquing in particular, you are just as handpicked as Republicans who can't do that either. And so I hope we continue to hear her echo the voice of concern and not limit her voice during the Senate campaign. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Well, he done did it. So Scott Jennings questions a black panelist IQ during an Epstein rant. Here it is.
I really don't think this is a Democrats versus Republicans versus Trump issue. This is a powerful men who did very bad things, and they're victims. And there's really only one side that, at least the way that I was raised, it makes sense to stand on. And I really have real questions for anybody who is trying to obfuscate or diminish what's actually going on here. And again, Scott, you keep saying, well, he didn't do anything. There's no indication of criminality. If that's true, he should be elated that we're putting these things out.
It's not if that's true. It is true. Can you name any evidence?
I would like to see the evidence. What I'm saying is,
you think after 10 years of public life, you wouldn't know it already?
No, I don't. That's exactly the point.
Oh my goodness! This is an IQ test. Don't fail it. Come on, man.
Scott,
10 years Donald Trump has been in public life.
That's embarrassing.
Scott, it is an IQ test. I mean, for 10 years, we haven't heard any names. So you really think that no one's involved?
Oh, well. Black male is Harvard educated, by the way. That matters to some people. Put it up for a mask. Scott, you done did it again. Scott Jennings fires off a racist IQ test dog whistle at a fellow panelist, Franklin Leonard. Franklin is a black Harvard-educated film producer and founder of The Blacklist on CNN. This was over the Epstein files. These guys get real testy about Epstein. The Senate, on the Epstein files, just so you know, the Senate sent the bill to Donald Trump's desk to sign it into law a day after the House of Representatives approved it by way of a 427-1 vote. 427-1 vote. Scott Jennings, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing? Your people have abandoned you, sir. They've abandoned Trump, too. U.S. President Donald Trump says he signed the bill. He signed a bill that orders the release of government files on the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, a significant turning point in a months-long fight over the documents. The Justice Department now has 30 days to publicly share all information from federal investigations into Epstein. However, it can withhold files that relate to active criminal investigations or files that are deemed to invade personal privacy. In other words, you may be at the same place you started if they decide to do that. All of a sudden, you have active investigations, more investigations that are happening. We can't do anything because everybody's under investigation again. Put it up full mass again, the picture of Scott and Harvard trained. Yeah, So I have a question to Scott. Sir, why so much defense for a guy who actually is a convicted sexual predator and who happens to be not here anymore? All right, Jamie, thoughts here.
Well, race is gonna racist, but it's first thing. It's good for Abby Phillips for throwing it right back on him. Like, yes, you are exactly correct. This is an IQ test that you are failing. The Epstein saga has been the quickest Frankenstein's monster that I have seen in my lifetime. Granted, I'm not that old, but certainly, so these were the people who, not a year ago, were the ones who brought it back up. Donald Trump and his ilk were the ones that brought it back up. I'm going to release it when I get in there. The Biden administration was concealing it, and forget the fact that I was already president for 4 years, but the Biden administration is concealing all these cabal of pedophiles or all of them, the deep state, yada, 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 yada. The conservatives were the ones who brought it back up. It had, during the Biden administration, you hardly ever heard about the Epstein files unless it was somebody on the right wing. To their credit, I mean, it's definitely something that should be released and should be talked about. But they were the ones that brought it up. Now they're in power. Folks like Don Bongino and Kash Patel, who had whole podcast series dedicated to release the Epstein file. Now, mum's the word. What did we say? Release the Epstein files? I don't know. Well, they don't exist. Or well, it was just him, despite the fact that it was a cabal that we said just 5 seconds ago. So this Frankenstein monster has come and is eating them alive, and it's the most rewarding thing I have ever seen in political sagas.
Yeah, and we are guaranteed to see a lot more. Okay, what if I told you that an armed robber stops to give a person health advice in the midst of, well, his profession? Okay, here it is.
I'm at the store. For what? I'm getting a juice. What kind of juice? Get some water. Ain't that juice? Ain't no goddamn good food. Get some goddamn water. Water! Now! Hey, get the what you want? What you want? Drop your gun! Oh, this bitch tripping. Oh my God. Let me get the
She said, put down that juice and take that water. Put it up. Obviously, a scary situation, an ironic situation on top of it being scary. An armed robber at a Family Dollar store in North Carolina decided to pause for robbery to give a customer health advice about drinking more water. So here's what happened. A woman goes by the handle Tawana P.O. on TikTok, went back to the store to buy juice and ended up right in the middle of a chaotic holdup at gunpoint. Seemingly oblivious to the danger, she walked back into the store after forgetting an item, and she caught the robber's attention. So commenters believed her presence immediately diffused the tension. That's when the armed robber stopped and insisted she consider water instead of juice. All right. But do not condone what happened. Obviously, that is a situation that can go left very fast. And according to the report, there was nobody injured, thank God, in that armed robbery. Jamie? I don't know, baby.
That level of audacity, it should be bottled up and mass marketed. I would subscribe to it monthly to just consume that level of the audacity to offer health advice while pointing a loaded gun. I get my hand raised. I don't know how to undo that.
Yeah.
Okay. While pointing a loaded gun at somebody. So I got this bullet pointing at your head. But I'm like, no, drink some water. And not only to offer health advice while pointing a gun at somebody, I read the details of the story without seeing the actual image. To do that while your big old belly hanging out the bottom of your shirt like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's called audacity. And what else is unhealthy is having a gun pointed to your head. That is extremely an unhealthy thing to go through.
I'm not a scientist, but I would argue that probably is more unhealthy than orange juice.
Possibly, yeah.
Bullets are.
Yeah. All right, brother. Always fascinating to have your analysis. Thank you for being on the program. Tell people how they can follow you and check out your great work.
Likewise, always a pleasure. And check me out on Rebel HQ under the playlist Jamie Lowe, and then under all social media at JLowe_52.
Thank you, my friend. Until next time. All right. Remember, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.